Welcome back to another episode of the Iron Purpose podcast. Today, I have the pleasure of having on a Christian punk rocker, mental health advocate, and the host of Breaking Through with Grace Graber, Miss Grace Graber. Welcome to the Iron
Pop
Purpose
punk.
podcast.
That is a new genre that I am personally creating now, pop punk. And honestly, what a slay. Hi, how's it going?
We'll work on it. We'll figure out what POC means, but we'll work on it.
Yeah,
it's going so good.
It's an acronym for something. Praise over concentrated kicking. I don't know.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, we'll figure it out.
Oh, that's awesome. I was like, shoot. I appreciate
Who
you pulling me out of there. You're pulling me out. Let's go. I love it. So what you up to today? What's going on? What's going on in the life of Grace today?
What am I not up to today? Are you talking like today as in the last 5 years? Or are we talking in today as in I'm going to lunch after this? I've got a little studio session, then hitting the gym. That's my day.
Sheesh, everything. Let's go. So, winter, we just got done with winter. We're in the spring season. Summer's coming up. What are you most excited for summer as the weather changes? Where are you living right now?
I live in Nashville. I live here in Franklin.
Love Nashville.
Franklin,
I love Nashville.
Tennessee. Yeah.
Okay.
And this summer I'm really looking forward to the festivals. I have more festivals booked this year than I have had any other year. And so that means festivals are going punk, and it's really exciting. I know Life Fest is having me out for all 3 days, and I'm not only playing all 3 days, I'm emceeing the rock stage for all 3 days. So I get the honors of being the one to introduce everyone that weekend. And so that's really exciting. And I feel like there's been a lot of wins for the Christian pop punk rock realm. And it just, as a fan first, I just geek out, and I'm so incredibly honored the Lord took Hawk Nelson's #1 fan and made her the little pop punk princess of Christian music so that I can do this kind of stuff. Literally, my inner child right now is beaming.
That's amazing. Are you looking forward to a certain festival the most, or just the opportunity to be in that environment? I suppose they're a little bit different than playing Life Fest. Okay.
Life Fest, because that's the one I'm doing all 3 days. And I love festival environments. I love being with the people. I think as an artist, it's fun living in Nashville and fun living in Franklin and stuff. But if I'm not recording in the studio, and if I'm not creating in some kind of way, I look at creating as connecting with my fans. And when I'm not doing that, I go crazy, absolutely nuts. Because for me, it's being out on the road, being with the people. That's why I'm doing this. And so to be in the industry, we're having meetings, we're having conversations, it's a lot of business. It just drives me nuts because that's not with the people. And so when I'm in the writing room, or when I'm doing something that's actively, I know, gonna reach people, I feel the most fulfilled. And so festival season's fun because not only are you connecting with people who already knew you, but people who might not know you, and you're really out there just getting connected. And it is the coolest. As a Enneagram 7 and a extrovert and a let's party all the time type of person, I'll probably not have a voice after Life Fest, and that'll be okay. I'm totally okay with that. Yeah.
I love that. Do you get a chance at festivals to interact with other artists and musicians as well, to kind of pick their brains, or is it everybody's busy, go, kind of doing their own thing?
Yeah, but I would rather be out at my merch table. It kind of this is kind of tea, and not to call anyone out. I'm not calling, but I hope it convicts someone. I don't really, I just don't understand the whole hang backstage mentality until
Mm-hmm.
like I like for me, and I think maybe later when like things have progressed and it's probably unsafe for me to go, like
Right.
I understand it in that realm, but like for artists like at either at my level or just above, like I watch people backstage and I'll go hang out like for a little bit and like interact and say hey, but I'd much rather be in the audience enjoying the show with
Mm-hmm.
the fans and then like meeting everybody than hanging backstage as much. I will say like what's cool, and this is the coolest part about the Lord, is it's always like if I do meet someone, it's always just like a God interaction of like, oh, I wasn't like looking to go meet this person. I just happened to run
Mm-hmm.
into them backstage, and I love those interactions. But I definitely am like one of those people who like I can't focus on what anyone else is doing. I just have to focus on what I'm doing. And so like yeah, I'm definitely like I will never really understand the hang backstage like green room thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be out with people. I want to be where the people are. Yeah. So yeah.
You have awesome energy. I love this. This is awesome. This is amazing. Ah. So with without getting too deep into your story right off the bat, have you always wanted to be a musician? Have you always been interested in music? And was this what you thought you were going to be doing moving
So
forward in your
you
with your life?
told me you didn't listen, you haven't heard my story or anything. If you want to hear it fresh, well, boy, okay. So when I was 12 years old, a Hawk Nelson song stopped me from taking my own life. They were,
Hmm.
I don't know if you remember Hawk Nelson. Do you remember Hawk Nelson?
I do. Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
A song stopped me from taking my own life. I was physically and verbally assaulted in middle school as a teenage girl, and I was ended up being diagnosed with PTSD and depression at 13. And my
Hmm.
parents didn't really know what to do because I did not have friends. I was bullied for my faith. I was like the only pastor's kid in the area, and like where I grew up, like going to church, it's not as like widely, not a lot of people do it. Like
Hmm.
we were the only church in a tourist town, and my parents didn't know what to do, so they would take me to the youth groups outside of the town. And these youth groups would always host the early 2000s Christian rock scene, their shows, and all sorts of bands passed through, like Run Kid Run, Stellar Cart, um, Capital Lights, like all of these early 2000s Christian rock. And I would meet these bands and I would go, why do the people who know me want to hurt me, but these guys know how to love me so well?
Hmm.
Someone explain that to me,
Hmm.
because I had yet to feel accepted or loved anywhere until I went to a Christian rock concert.
Wow.
And I knew, okay, if that is the Jesus that they know, and that is what it looks like to like love Jesus, I want that Jesus. I want to be
Hmm.
just like them when I'm older.
Hmm.
And I talked to a lot of those guys from back in the day, and they were just grinding, do whatever they can. They weren't trying to make an impact, like saving someone's life from suicide. They weren't actively every day going, "That's what I want to do." And so, for me and music, like I was right, I like was inspired to start writing songs and you name it. But I was like, if I could nowadays, it's like if I could put 1% more effort into just trying to like impact someone and save someone's life, I like they weren't
Hmm.
trying. Just imagine if you tried,
Hmm.
and so yeah, I found a lot of healing through Christian rock, Christian pop punk. And now a lot of those guys, like flash forward, a lot of things happened. I ended up writing it. I ended up going to beauty school when I was like in my early 20s, got a job at a spa. And you have to understand, I gotten that job at that spa because I was in a car accident and I lost a lot of mobility. And so I was unable to play guitar for a lot. I really grieved ever maybe doing music. I had a chance to sing with Hawk Nelson at 16, and that I thought
Wow.
was kind of like the peak moment of my testimony of like a Hawk Nelson song saved my life. I got to sing with Hawk Nelson. Done.
Hmm.
I'm good. And life kept moving on. And I became an esthetician. And then the spa that I worked for put out a nationwide songwriting contest. I ended up winning a trip to Nashville. I wrote the company jingle basically, and then I met someone, and I told them my story, and they were like, "Do you realize how marketable that story is?" Like, and he ended up developing me, and then it led to us moving here to Nashville, and like the rest is history. And now
Hmm.
all of the Hawk guys are in my life actively.
Wow.
My manager was the lead singer of Stellar Cart. Like my worship pastor was the lead singer of Run Kid Run. And it's been incredibly cool because there has been a lot of progression throughout the years, and but it's been incredibly cool for them to see the fruit too. Like they
Hmm.
get to, like, not a lot of artists get to see what their old rock band did for people. Like they don't
Right.
get to see that. And now and what's even cooler, Bailey, is they have actively decided we're gonna pour into that still, and we're gonna be there for her. So
Hmm.
I can't speak higher of the bands that saved my life, because they are the type of people you want as heroes. Um, they've lived up to that standard and have been there for me today. And I could go on and on about that forever. So that is kind of like the cliff notes of like what happened, and things are still actively happening. I just launched a podcast with Access More. They're a part of the Caleb family.
Hmm.
That's huge for a company of that size to pour in and invest in the Christian rock scene,
Yeah.
and like and the mental health scene especially.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
it's been really cool. I It's been really cool to just watch God move and be obedient, because I've had a lot of heartache. I've had countless days of like wanting to give up, and it just like recently I realized all my childhood dreams, like, they weren't crazy. I wasn't crazy for like wanting to be like my heroes. I actually, like, now I'm being mentored by them. So
Wow.
it's like, oh wow, this is really cool. So anyways, there you go.
I love it. That's a wrap.
Yeah, I don't know.
See you
Probably
next
people
time.
can take like 20 different things off of that. So yeah.
I know, there is a lot to unpack. Um, I don't know if you have shared what the Hawk Nelson song was.
Yeah, it was Take Me. Oh yeah, I share all the time. Somebody wrote that it was California, and then another article wrote that it was Everything You Ever Wanted. Those were just covers that I did, that I just wanted to honor the band and the legacy. I did a song with Jason at one point too about my story,
Hmm.
and like, so they're all just active and aware that I exist. I do not let them forget. It's the best thing ever. Yeah. I'm like
Uh
literally the crazy fangirl that said, "What if I made a career out of this?"
huh. And here you are.
Yeah, here we are.
W-
So it's
How?
fun
How?
because it's fun because like I was that fan, and so I really feel like I can resonate with people at a
Yeah.
specific level of like, I know what it's like to be the front row and just hope someone notices me.
Hmm.
And so it's really cool to have that power now to notice someone and go,
Hmm.
I know there are 10 girls in this crowd, maybe one even back there. They just want to be seen, and like that, I could cry. Like, that is all I want. I don't
Hmm.
care about the rest. I just want the
Hmm.
platform so I can see her. I can see him and point out to them and notice them, because like I'm noticing this with the mental like health conversations happening. These teens, I'm meeting a lot of teens lately that just want to be seen and want to be heard.
Hmm.
And why are we not doing it? Like somebody asked me what I would say to someone if I in the back of the room, and I said
Yeah.
nothing. I would ask them to share their story.
Wow.
They need to be heard. Yeah, anyways.
Whoa. Wow. What a perspective. Like you try to pour into somebody else, and you're trying to think of all this stuff. How can I make the most impact? All these different things, and what a flip of the script to say. I wouldn't say anything. I want to listen to what they have to say. Because
Can I tell you how I learned that?
yes, please.
I learned that when I've been going to therapy a lot while recording the podcast and recording the last album I did. And I've been connecting with my inner child. And
Hmm.
there's been so many cases where she's been just screaming to be heard. And I realized, oh my gosh, that's all I wanted as a fan. All I wanted was to pull my heroes aside and like tell them what was going on in my life. That's all I wanted. And I'm going to be really honest with you, like the patience on some of these men, like that is still all I want, as an artist today, is to call up I can call up any of them, and I do. And like I just want to tell them what God just did.
Hmm.
Like something happened this morning, and all I wanted to do was call up Adam and tell him, like, guess what happened, like, because and I don't think that's a coincidence, connecting it to my inner child and then connecting it to these fans who are in the back of the room and don't know what to say. It's like they just, like, people need to learn how to put words, right? And we as leaders show them how to put words to what they're feeling. And so I really look at like what's going on in my life right now in a leadership perspective of I'm just showing someone how to share their story, how to finally be heard, because I know that's what they want.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, and I think you can relate with being that little girl, that inner child that was struggling and being bullied. And I think you can even that story relates to full grown men who are going through different things and who are kind of afraid to show their emotions. And I get a chance to interact with a lot of those guys. Working in a jail as a correctional officer, we have a program called Impact. So it's inmates making positive advancement, choosing transformation. So they get an opportunity to come into this separate room, and we kind of watch a video and go over it, whatever the topic is of the week, and try to just instill a mindset of positivity and a belief that they are capable of overcoming whatever it is that they're facing. Different charges. Just every walk of life, every charge you can think of, they're going through, and just being in jail. A lot of times society just writes them off completely, and they you don't have a chance out there. You're pretty much done for, and they get in this just self-defeated area of their life and think, how can I ever make my way out of this? And so the program there is trying to say, okay, no, you are still capable of love and being loved, and proving to other people that that you deserve a right to be out in there and out in the world and overcome whatever you're facing. And a lot of those guys, like I said, they just, and like you said, they just need to be heard. They just
They
need
need to
their
be heard, and they need an example of what that looks like, because I'm sure a lot of them are like, where do I even start, right? Like,
mm-hmm,
where do I even, what do I even begin with, or what's an example of how that has happened? Because we have limited beliefs because we don't know our options.
mm-hmm,
We
mm-hmm,
don't know the option of like, this is the first step, or this is the first step, you get to choose. And I'm learning that a lot in just day-to-day life, or like, what are my that's why I keep saying I don't know, is because it's not that I don't know and I'm not like smart around like a certain topic. It's just I just don't know what the options are to choose from right now.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
to like put that into words and put that into language, like you're demonstrating, to like the inmates, and you're demonstrating to your other leaders, like you're
mm-hmm,
putting into words things that they might be already thinking. And it's like, oh, I either wasn't brave enough to say it out loud, or I didn't even know that was connected to what I was thinking.
mm-hmm. Right. So going back to when you were younger and being bullied for, you said, for your faith, and trying to stand up for your faith or whatever that looked like as a younger kid, how cool is it now to have not let that Satan tried to defeat you, the enemy tried to defeat you and take you out, but that same reason that you were being bullied, the same reason that was causing all this heartache and this trauma in your life, you are now maximizing it, and you've already said Jesus' name like 4 or 5 times today. Like, so you are proud of it. You wear it on your sleeve like it's a badge of honor. And like before, it was something that was something that was really struggle. You really struggled with it. So how cool is that to now be able to take that thing that was weighing you down and proclaim it to the world?
That I it's all I've ever had, he's all I've ever had. When I was younger, I was like, I don't feel like I have a testimony, it's like, oh my gosh, Grace, get ready, and
Buckle up.
yeah, buckle up, yeah, you do. And I think what's cool about like my testimony too is like, it's like my testimony isn't like rags to riches, right? It's not like I wasn't a believer, then I was. It was, I've always been a believer, but I've stumbled and have had roadblocks that have tried to stop me. Like the devil wants to steal, kill, and destroy, utterly obliterate all the plans, or just you. He just wants, like, not even the plans, he just wants to obliterate you. Has nothing to do with the plans, actually. Has nothing to do with what, like, he literally wants you dead. And when I had my suicide experience, like, it really put into perspective of, like, oh my gosh, like, someone wants me dead. Like, because I knew this, like, when you're suicidal, you kind of semi know, like, I don't want to die, but you feel like it's the only option you have, and it's really a lie. Like, and there's, like, an element to of, this isn't me, like, this kind of, and that's because literally the devil wants to destroy you. He is not, and he isn't being fluffy about it. This ain't Sunday school devil. There's a calling on your life. There is an anointing, and no one can change that. And so I've, like, just realized, like, even into my adult years, like, all of the things that have happened, and the fact that I have chosen to stay and like, it's why I still believe. Like, I still believe, because while I am being obedient, he is being faithful. And I really haven't lost the faith, because look at how full circle my life is. But two, I haven't lost faith because I can always show up to him and it be a safe place for me. Even when I'm going through utter grief and destruction, like, I am able to run to my creator and go, you've been so good to me. Like, with gratitude, go to him, run to him, go, you've been so good to me. And I don't know, there's, like, an element to where maybe it's my upbringing of, I never have not believed in Jesus, but I don't think there's ever, I think it's just, like, you just have to choose to accept he's the Son of God or not. You have to choose to accept it or not, and then it's a fact at that point in my head. And I'm not going to argue with the idea like that. I've chosen that. I've chosen it. I think that's what he wants from us, even when it doesn't make sense. He just wants us to choose it, whether like it, like, logically might make sense or not. And that's an act of faith and an act of trust in God. And so, like, maybe later one day, like, we're in heaven and God's like, haha, that was all a joke. Like, that was all. But the true test was, I believed it and I stayed true to it and I stayed faithful to it, whether it was or not. I think, like, that takes a really huge trust fall. I don't know. That's a lot of theology stuff that I'm, like, not really smart at, but there you go.
I'm right there with you. Life experiences. So, going back, you said you were raised as a pastor's daughter. Did you, there's the stereotype of, pastor's kid, they're going to rebel, they're going to act out, they're going to have this crazy side to them. Did you ever kind of feel that way, or did you ever have people, have that opinion of you, and how did you kind of counterbalance it, or how did you interact with that?
Honey, I did that when I turned 25. No. I was goody two shoes. Did something even close to wrong, confessing it to my parent. I think it would shock everyone in high school if they saw me today covered in tattoos. I don't have the, if they saw me covered, I think I would shock people I grew up with in high school, no, I didn't, like, even when I rebelled, it was more like, oh, like, come on, like, I can have a glass of wine here or there, or, like, nothing, like, crazy, but I learned I was an adult and I could make decisions myself on what I wanted to do, but no, that's not me.
Did that put a lot of pressure on yourself growing up to, like, not make mistakes, being that your father was a pastor?
I was scared for my life. I really did not notice or care. I
Mm.
genuinely thought people wanted me gone and hurt.
Right.
So
Right.
I as a pastor's kid, I was dealing with so much trauma that I was more church hurt into college when
Mm.
I was like going to a Bible college that was a denomination that I grew up in, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like finding some independence, and I was still dealing with a lot of trauma. I look at it now and I was like, oh, a lot of my trauma is the reason why I was so hurt by the college I went to, because I wasn't healthy enough to find independent. Like I wasn't healthy yet. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
physically healthy. I wasn't mentally healthy. And so there's an element where I was incredibly hurt and felt those standards when I went to Bible college. Um, but even then I ran away and I went off and got married and found a new name, and I'm able to look at it now and go, oh, it wasn't the actual college that put those standards on me. It was my trauma that was putting those standards on me. So I don't think it was ever from that. I think when you are someone who's dealt with trauma and PTSD, it's a filter. It's truly a filter that you look uh, at life through, and
Mm.
that can distort, warp everything. And
Mm-hmm.
now that I've found complete healing from most of the trauma, like I and I'm working on getting freedom from the rest of it. I understand now where I understand myself and I have grace and I
Mm.
actually love her and see her. And now, like, and that helps me interact with people when I'm on the road, is like I see them or hear them and I go, yeah, like, I
Mm-hmm.
know what that is. I know what's going
Mm.
on and I can have a little grace for it, and then kind of be the example of, because I've had a lot of people go, okay, you were diagnosed with PTSD and I am still actively in therapy and treatment for PTSD. I'm
Mm-hmm.
actively resolving this issue. It possibly, we don't know the length, but I will tell you this, I'm in a really good spot. And like, I'm like, right now, I'm like, yeah, I'm fully healed. I'm in a really good spot. But like, there are moments in life where it trickles back in. And that's why you
Absolutely.
have a game plan, right? You stay sharp. You have a game plan for those moments.
When you have, when you do have those thoughts kind of
Yeah.
coming in, I feel like a lot of the battle is between the ears, just the mental battle, the thoughts that come in, and what you look at and what you decide to take as reality and put upon yourself.
Yes.
Is there something that you do where you're like, nope, not gonna do this. I'm gonna sing a song. Maybe it's that song, or I'm gonna go do
Uh,
this to kind of just get out of that mindset. Is there
I
anything that
go
you
to
do
the
specifically?
gym. I do a
Yeah.
cold plunge.
Do you? Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I go to the gym. I do a cold plunge. I call a friend. Sometimes I've learned
Hmm.
talking about it will it can be harmful depending on like how much I talk about it. You name it, because you can relive
Mm-hmm.
in that cycle. I've done a lot
Yeah.
of EMDR. It really depends on the thing, but I think uh yeah, but I think like just movement, active movement, walking. And I've learned this recently, walking is a form of EMDR. I had no idea. So our brain
Hmm.
processes, and when you're in a rhythm of something, some kind of rhythmic movement, you're able to process it a little deeper and a little more core wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I have learned, like, if I get up and get active, nothing can stop me.
Hmm.
Um and I'm still trying to figure out where I was going from, like when you have PTSD and all of that. But I was probably getting to the realm of like, you have to have grace for yourself and you have to
Yeah.
understand that this is a body issue and your brain is not your soul. You have a spirit,
Whoa.
you have
Whoa.
a soul, and you have a body, right? The spirit is the spirit. The spirit. Like, that is your this what God put in me to be me. The soul, I really look at, or there, I think, or it's spirit. There's like an actual thing. I forget who it was by, but there is an actual thing I read, and they explained it like this: you've got spirit, which is your spirit, you got your soul, which is your brain, and you've got your body. And there can be a body soul issue going on, but it has nothing to do with the spiritual. Or there could be a spiritual issue going on and has nothing to do with the body or the soul. And so it's like understanding these different components, like that, like you might be struggling physically in the brain or chemically somewhere, but that is not your spirit. Understanding that gives people a perspective of, oh, I'm going to go get help for this issue. Nothing to do with Jesus and what I believe about Jesus and who I am. Everything to do with my brain is not right. My body is not right. That's it. We are spiritual beings having a human experience, and you are dead wrong if you think that sin did not enter into this world. It's coming for all. Like death is coming for us. Not spiritual death, like physical death. We were born into an imperfect world. I can't, what happened to me happened, and it became a soul body issue, not a spiritual issue. Always loved Jesus. And so I think that's something like I wish I could tell the church more, and I wish I could tell people, and I will speak on a million times over, is like, this is not the fact that you are struggling with PTSD or struggling with depression, you name it. Suicide is a complete hormonal imbalance. Like it is. Being suicidal is, you need to go get checked immediately. If you're having suicidal thoughts, if anyone listening is having suicidal ideation thoughts, that is not right, because there's something chemically happening in your body right now. And I'm going to speak into that, and you got to go get checked out. That's why they say to go to the hospital. It's not to shame you. It's not to do, it's just to make sure your body is functioning correctly, because it's obviously not, because we were not created to want to die. We were not created for death. We were actually created for eternity. And sin entered the world when we decided it entered the world. And so we are not, it is actually, I think, the most twisted mental torment to be suicidal, because that never was supposed to be for us.
When you, and I like that you touched on this, because I myself, and I've had some friends even who have been struggling mentally and anxiety and different depression and whatnot, and people have said, well, how's your faith like? What's your walk with Jesus like? Are you praying enough? Are you doing this enough? And it's probably, you're anxious probably because you're not praying. And it's like, well, yeah, I feel like I am. And then you start to get this identity crisis in your mind. Like, well, am I not? Like, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? So your thought, to somebody who is dealing with that or being given that advice, there is a
Those
clear
are the wrong mentors.
difference.
Point blank. Those are the mentors who don't know what they're talking about, who have never experienced something like that lovingly. Oh, that makes me so mad. I've had people tell me that, like, my mental health issues will rub off onto other people if I talk about it too much. I better not claim this. I better not claim that. I get it. I understand our words have a lot of power, and there are moments where it's like, yeah, I really should not claim this, really. But if someone comes to you and is actively struggling, and your first thought is, what are you not doing? You are not loving them. You are not properly addressing the issue that they brought to you, which is, I want to die. It has nothing to do with the spirit at that point, and everything to do. Alarms should be going off for a pastor. If a pastor is listening, anyone, alarms should be going off of something's not right chemically in the body. That's the first thing that we should do. Yes, we should ask if they know Jesus, because sometimes it can be spiritual oppression. It really can. But go get checked out first, and let's decide if it's spiritual oppression or not. Because that's the other thing too, is the devil will go, oh, they'll think it's spiritual oppression, and then they won't get this person help. Why are you giving the devil even a foothold? even
Right.
a possibility of a foothold. It's just a doctor visit. Go do it. You know,
Hmm.
like, I'm sorry, I get really, really worked up about this because,
Passionate.
yes, because if my parents had not done that, I would not be here. They
Mm.
actively pursued, they went to multiple specialists to try to figure out what was going on.
Hmm.
And they finally went to a trauma specialist, and she looked at me and she was like, she's traumatized. There's nothing actually wrong anywhere else. It's her brain chemistry
Hmm.
and the relief. Because guess what? That just takes some treatment. And then that treatment leads to healing, which leads to freedom, which leads to me standing here, sitting here as a living testimony, a living, breathing testimony, because my parents fought to get me
Hmm.
help.
Mm.
So
Wow.
if you're a pastor or a mentor figure, honey, I understand that you want to mentor and all of that, but if you're not, if it's something where they keep coming to you and they're keep struggling with, go to the doctor.
Hmm.
You need to see someone. God created medical professions. You can't deny
Right.
that.
So let's see here. I was thinking about like identity, identity in Christ and your identity as a person, as yourself, as Grace, as Bailey. Like growing up, my dad was a police officer, my grandpa was a police officer, and so like I knew that it was just something that I wanted to do. So I was like trying to make sure that I followed, walk the straight and narrow because I didn't want to mess up or do something silly to where I'd end up and I'd spend a night in jail or whatever and lose my opportunity to be a police officer. Like I wake up in the middle of the night with like nightmares, like, ooh, I'm not gonna. Ooh, that would have been really bad. I'm not gonna be able to be a cop. And um, you know, fast forward, kind of going through it with the Christian walk too. Sometimes it's like you try to figure out, okay, how can I be the best I can be? How did I find my identity in Christ? And I think I put too much pressure on my shoulders to be as much like Christ as I can, or be like this perfect person to be able to follow in my dad and my grandpa's footsteps as a police officer, that I didn't really know who I was until even the past few years. I was trying to always live up to be somebody different, and I think similarly with how you kind of went through what you went through, and I feel like once you hit that time where you got some tattoos and stuff, I feel like that might have been your kind of identity moment. Like I am Grace, and I have this other part of me that is my identity is in Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you have any advice? Hopefully, this makes sense for somebody who may be struggling with that identity, trying to figure out who they are and trying to live up to standards. And maybe people are saying you should be this or you're supposed to be that.
Like, what makes you come alive? Early 2000s Christian pop punk made me come alive. And so the more that I've leaned into being the crazy fangirl a little bit, the more that like God has opened the doors, the more that I've gone like, oh, it wasn't actually like bizarre for me to like want Hawk Nelson to be like my big brothers. They are now. Like I think COVID taught us a lot about identity because we shut down and we're forced to be home.
Yeah.
Identity has nothing to do with the outward and everything to do with what are we doing behind closed doors and who are we when everything cancels.
Mm-hmm.
I am the girl who's dancing around in her bedroom thinking about songs. I am exactly who I was when I was 16 and there was no progress. Like I had a mentor talk to me about this recently because I was getting really hyped about some things happening in my life, and he encouraged me to slow down and go, but who are you when all of this is quiet? And I was like, and I because I was putting a lot of I was excited. I was really excited, and then I was like starting to like go, "Ooh, I really want this," or "Ooh, and he was going, "Hold on. Hold on. Who are you when this isn't happening?" And it was like, "Well, I'm this, I'm this." I mean, he goes, "Yeah, but like what if it was gone tomorrow?" And it's like, "Oh, yeah, who would I be?" I would
Mm-hmm.
be the girl who draws on everything, paints everything, puts checkers everywhere. I'd be loud. I would be writing songs. I would be who I was when COVID really opened the door for me to like get to know myself creatively because no one knew who I was yet I chose to learn how to produce my first single. I chose to learn how to do things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's always, I'm just someone who likes to learn and do things and get creative, and that will always be me. That will always be me. And when I've learned that if all of this goes away today, if like everyone forgets that I turned songs punk, if my heroes forgot about me, like, yeah, I would still love the same song. I mean, I still listen to what I listened to as a kid. Like,
Mm-hmm.
every day I listen to Hawk Nelson, Stellar Carp. Like, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, and probably the only one, but like, it's like, but that's what made me feel seen and come alive. And so I think that's why it translates a lot into the music and a lot into my story, is because like, it's like, I think we confuse identity with personality. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like, I think like there comes a point where you know who you are behind closed doors, but how do you vocalize that?
Mm-hmm.
What makes you feel like the easiest to vocalize? And like, that is part of the identity journey of like, okay, let's find your voice. It's going back to finding your voice and feeling seen.
Mm-hmm.
And I ask this, I have like a lot of little girls that I mentor, that want to do music, and it's just like, what do you want to say? What do you want to do? What brings you the most joy? And they'll be like, well, I really want flowers in my photos. It's like, then add flowers in your photo. But what will people think? Who cares what people think? Like,
Mm-hmm.
does it bring you joy and does it feel like something you can easily replicate later? Then that's you.
Mm-hmm.
I I have stars on everything. I don't know if you noticed, everywhere, all over my socials, stars, because that's just like something that I just have loved. I've loved stars,
Mm-hmm.
and like, um, it's just like, that's easy. The checkers, I've always had checkered things, like always. Like, those are just like those little things. It's just easy to replicate for me. And so it's
Mm-hmm.
become my brand per se. But like, truly, it's just when I don't care if someone else is doing it or not, or someone else out there likes it or not, then I know it's me. Like, you just like, you can't be afraid of it, like being taken from you. I learned in music, I've learned a lot about how afraid I am that someone was going to take my story from me. Someone was going to tell me, no, that's not true. What the heck? You can't take my story from me. You can't take this from
Mm-hmm.
me. So I think like we have a limited belief system that if I show who I am, show my personality, what I like, someone will take it from me and tell me I'm wrong.
Mm. Absolutely.
And telling someone they're wrong for what they love is like the deep, like it's deep pain.
Mm-hmm.
So we prevent ourselves from vocalizing what we love sometimes because we don't want to be in pain.
Mm. It's
Um,
very relatable. It's very relatable.
there you go.
Uh, I was just thinking the other day too. Working in a jail, a lot of times people will come in either under the influence or maybe high or intoxicated or something, and they're not their normal self. And maybe some
Yeah.
of them are. Maybe some of them are struggling mentally, and they'll have these outbursts where they're coming after you or attacking you with verbally, trying to do whatever they can to get under your skin. And it's crazy that you just shared that story because yesterday I was thinking, and it popped into my head, like your perception of me doesn't my self worth doesn't hinge on your perception of me. And previously in my life, it would have. There's been times where people say, "Oh, that's kind of weird," and I go, "Oh, okay," and it just shut me down. Or like I like to put posters and stuff up now. I mean, it's kind of nice because I need to have a backdrop. But growing up, like I'd put big Minnesota Vikings fan. I'd cut out like the news articles from the games and like tape them to my wall, like just kind of stuff like that. And my friends would be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, "Oh, okay," and I'd take them down because I didn't want to. I didn't want to be hurt. Or I didn't want to feel like an outsider or feel weird. And now, like, I just turned 30 like 2 months ago, and like coming into this like chapter of my life, like, why am I doing the things that I'm doing? Why am I doing a podcast? Is it because I want other people to go, "Oh, look at him, look what he's doing, that's really cool," or is it, no, I'm doing it for myself. No, I'm doing it because I'm having awesome conversations with people I wouldn't normally talk to, or people that I would talk to. I know I have my brother on here every now and then, and like I see him quite a bit. But it's just like, what are you doing, and what are you doing it for? Like, because at the end of the day, like people's opinions, like it's sometimes we hold on to it as it's reality. Go ahead.
we are the only ones who can provide a secure internal dialogue.
Mm-hmm.
I am not doing anything musically or anything ministry wise without going, how does this love my younger self? I constantly think about her. And so when I honor her, I think that's when I have realized I'm being completely true to myself. I thought I was crazy for being obsessed, like an obsessive fangirl, and like vocalizing that. I thought it was going to prevent people from wanting to meet with me and like not take me as seriously.
Mm-hmm.
All of those guys have just jumped in and gone, we want to be here for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that would discount me, and in fact, like the fact that I am able to be accepted for, like, it's just like my younger self sees acceptance, and I'm creating secure and stable experiences for her, and that no one else will be able to provide that for me, and no
Mm-hmm.
one will be able to provide that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Once you realize I'm the only one who can provide the stability that I'm truly looking for in another person, you don't care what anyone.
And what a weight off your shoulders. Just go, all right.
No, you are
Feel,
the only one. You are truly the only one. You and Jesus are the only one who can decide to get off your butt and do things. To
mm-hmm.
get off your butt and love yourself. You're most of the time our brain is going, I want to feel connected. I want to feel loved. I want to feel secure. And we get anxious about things that are dumb, and we get worried about things because there is a need that we are not providing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We are the only ones who can provide that in order to have stable, secure relationships and connections.
Mm-hmm.
And once you realize that, life gets a lot easier, to just be outward and all the things. Yeah. So,
I'm gonna quote you with saying, "Get off your butt and love yourself." I think
I
that's a new
love it
new
though.
merch idea. You need to get some shirts, maybe some stars on it.
Well, and also
I love it.
the creator of the universe created you and loves you. You have no other reason. You like there should be, it should be a command for you to go and find security in yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's
God's not going
okay.
to leave and embarrass you and leave you unsafe with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm. Sheesh, that's good stuff. I am gonna have to send you a bill for, or I'm gonna have to pay you for the therapy
I
session.
love it. I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, it's going to impact someone.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're getting near an hour here, so we'll kind of just wrap up with a few more questions. But earlier, I had asked, kind of about, we talked about stay sharp and kind of what that means. So for you, you're on the road, you're got a podcast now, you're a musician, you just got all these different things that you're pouring your cup into. And with Iron Purpose, as iron sharpens iron, one person sharpens another. So what do you do continually to pour out your cup, to be able to stay sharp so that you can sharpen other people and be sharpened by other people? Are there a couple things that come to mind?
Well, one, I have my morning time with the Lord. And I'm not just BSing it, like telling you that. I genuinely get up and I have to be with him or else the day sucks. And I like sometimes I'm on the road and I can't do that, and that's the reality. But when I am home, I 6 a.m. I'm up, I'm ready to go. Let's talk to the Lord about everything. And sometimes like I'll sometimes night, there's just something about being outside though. I have to be outside. It is the weirdest thing. So I have like my little outside moment. So that has kept me sharp in this season. Personally, my mentors, I genuinely don't know what I would do without them in this last season, because I have been pouring out a lot. And there's just something about being able to call up my mentor and go, I'm really struggling today. And then him go, you are exhausted. You just got off the road. You need some rest. or,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need to be doing this right now. Just there's something like it's been very parental for me in a way, like
Mm-hmm.
just, and I think that I've never like thought of like mentorship as like parental before, but like that's how this has turned out. Is like it's not correctional at all. It's more just like pointing out the obvious, or pointing out in that moment, like when someone who has been on the road themselves, like and has experienced the things you've experienced and has like a much larger perspective, like for him to like just go, you need to go rest. Honestly, there's like an element to it. It's like, oh, he's experienced a lot in his life, so I'm gonna believe him and actually like, okay, yeah, actually you're right.
Right.
I'll do that, so I really could not like recommend finding like a mentor, that really safe person in those safe places, for people enough beyond your therapist, beyond your parent, beyond
Mm-hmm.
your spouse. There's just something about having those people. Like I have 3 or 4 people I have on hand that I know I could call and they would sharpen me, and then I have like my speed dial one, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just like having your people, really, that's what's kept me grounded. Yeah, having my people. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
A couple more questions, and you already said, and one of my questions was going to be, what would you say to your former self, in those shoes? I guess, what would you say to somebody currently who may be in that situation, or thinking those kind of things, or really struggling mentally? And we've kind of talked about it a little bit, but are there any like highlights or key points where you'd say this is what I would recommend you doing, being that I've been there before myself?
Yeah. You're not crazy, you're sick. Something's wrong, and you need to go see people who know what's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to go explore what might be wrong, and you need to not be afraid of it, because you're going to feel so much better.
Mm-hmm. Love it. And then what would you say, if you could go back and be in the shoes where you were before, what would you say to those people that were causing that pain and that anguish in your life? Is there something that you would say to them, or recommend that somebody in those situations would say to that enemy in their life?
Hmm. They might not have felt loved, but there was a God that still loved them. I truly
Mm-hmm.
believe it happened because there were those girls who were not heard, were not seen, did not feel a love of a parent or a love
Mm-hmm.
of a savior. And so I would just, man, if I saw those girls, I would go, what's the issue? Like what? This is way beyond. You are so loved and so
Mm-hmm.
much better than like, and people act that way because they don't believe they're better than that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
So I would just tell them how loved they were.
Wow.
You're just so loved, you're just so seen, you
Mm-hmm.
know and I mean, I would even say that for my like more recent, like enemies, the same
Right.
thing. It's like most of the times we're acting off of behaviors that we've and patterns that our brain has learned. And so
Mm-hmm.
I don't ever blame people for acting the way they act, because that is just literally how their brain functions. It's like I'm going to learn that, oh, like people responding to me, that has nothing to do with who I actually am.
Mm.
It's all connected in that way of like, oh, that person, like they're like that and that sucks. And that's kind of like, but like, are we gonna act out of fear of it, or are we gonna act out of love for them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can choose to be afraid of the thing I don't know, or I can choose to just love them beyond it and let the Lord change the rest. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of where my brain goes.
Yeah, that's awesome. What an awesome perspective. What a freeing feeling to be able to take that off and go, this really probably isn't about me. Like you said, this is
No,
behaviors that they have learned. Yeah,
just
it's
like
not
it's not
about
about
me.
them for me. Just like if I
Yeah.
treat someone rude, or if I am mad, or it's truly not about them. It's a heart issue on my end that I have to figure
Mm-hmm.
out. We're all
Mm-hmm.
just like, it's all just personal. Like it's all
Mm-hmm.
personal. It's
Right.
nothing. Everyone. And then we get to, when we have that freedom, you and I are able to connect better, right? Like it's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, now I feel safe because like I'm not thinking about you, and you're not thinking about, like, you're thinking about yourself right now. I'm thinking about myself right now. And we can
Right.
admit that. And it's not, I feel like in Christian culture, we think that's selfishness. No, it's just self-awareness.
Mm-hmm. Love it. I was gonna ask one other question with with the punk rock scene and traditional Christian music. I think it's been evolving throughout the years from like I grew up Baptist, so I listened to hymns and stuff, and I don't get me wrong, I love How Great Thou Art as much as the next guy, but when it comes to my worship, I really like to sing and praise a little more upbeat. So some of the songs that you're even making punk rock, it's just like it's super cool because it's super relatable. Have you had pushback from kind of those people? And I know probably what the answer is going to be based off our conversation so far, but what is your thoughts on that and still just rocking out and praising in
I've
your own
actually
way?
gotten more pushback from the rock scene than I have traditional Christians.
Really? Why is that?
I'm not punk enough. Like,
Okay.
I genuinely, it's a shocking answer, but I have been disrespected by more people who are doing or who have done the genre that I've
Mm-hmm.
currently done. There's an element to where I'm like, yeah, my heroes are the best, but then there's also the heroes that it's like, don't meet those heroes either.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I like lovingly my top 3, my top 5 have been the best, but then it's
Mm-hmm.
been actually kind of shocking the people that
Mm-hmm.
have commented. They have not. It's not the conservative Christian scene. It's people from the rock scene.
Interesting. I did not see that coming. Well, and so I grew up listening to Florida Georgia Line and really love country
Yeah,
music, and so I actually have a poster of them behind me too down here. But they people were like, oh, it's bro country or it's this or it's that. It's not actual country, and oh, it's and then they
yeah.
get well,
I
it's
mean,
not
they said
actual
that
hip
about
hop.
Taylor Swift. They say that. I mean, like, who cares? I'm not doing it for you.
Yes. And I
Who
tell them, I don't
cares?
care what you call it. It's good. I
I
enjoy
don't
this.
care if
Doesn't
you were
matter
in
what
that
it is.
major pop punk band and you made one stupid, like, guess what? Y'all aren't making a record anytime soon, and I am. So, genuinely.
Let's go.
Sorry, I get sassy about that. I hold nothing back. I'm just gonna be as real as possible, and
Yeah, that's all you can do.
yeah.
Uh, that's awesome. Well, with that being said, Grace, where can people find you? You got anything coming up in the near future? Like, plug away. I want to know.
If you go to gracegraber.com, you will find everything from music videos to audio files to resourcing and merch. And you can follow me on Instagram at Grace Graber Music. That is currently where I'm most active, but I have TikTok, I have YouTube. If you just look up Grace Graber, GRAB as in boy, ER. And then I have a brand new podcast with Access More, part of the Caleb family, called Breaking Through with Grace Graber, and it is a mental health focused podcast where I interview other Christian artists about mental health topics, and we get to get kind of spicy and juicy about getting a little deeper than you typically would with people. I feel like, with all the press training, like, you get to a level with some artists, but this is one of those podcasts where it's like, ooh, tell me about your experience with antidepressants. Like, it's so cool. It's awesome.
It's reality. I love that. And
Yeah.
now that I kind of got your story a little bit, I'm going to be tuning into that as well. And I think you can never have enough mental health conversations. So it's
You can't.
truly inspiring that you're continuing to fight this battle and fight it for other people as well and let people be heard. Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Especially being somebody who is a fan of music, and I've been that guy that's out in the concert, the scene, out in the sea of people, like, oh, he just pointed at me, yes, like, I feel seen. Like, for that to be your focus, like, that is so cool.
I have the power in my hands now, so I'm gonna go do it.
Like laser beams pointing, boom, gotcha.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's getting a high five at the end of the night. Yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any? And I guess I'll end with this question. Do you have any upcoming shows near Minnesota, or have you ever been thought of going to like a festival in Minnesota?
I don't know where Minnesota is.
It's way up north.
No,
That's what
I mean, I'm Wisconsin is where I'm playing Life Fest, but
Okay.
yeah.
Where in Wisconsin is that? I'm not super familiar with that.
Oshkosh.
Oshkosh. Okay. Cool. Well, there's one in Duluth. It's called City on a Hill, And
Well,
that
then you
is a
better
really.
put my name down. Tell him.
I will try.
What if
I'll,
Duluth went punk? That's all I gotta say.
I'll clip that and send it to him, then we'll see what they say.
You should.
That's awesome. Well, Grace, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here. This has been an awesome conversation, one that I'm going to go back and listen to. Thank you for what you're doing again for music and for mental health. It's awesome, and it's been a pleasure.
My pleasure. Appreciate it.
All right. This is the Iron Purpose Podcast. Stay sharp, everybody.